was Samson, and you read about his birth. He was the strongest man that ever lived on earth. One day of Samson, he was walking alone. He looked down on the ground and he saw an old jawbone, and he lifted up that jawbone and he swung it over his head. When he got to moving, 10,000 was dead. If I had my way, if I had my way in this wicked world, if I had my way, I would tear this building down. And they got in the trap, and old Samson, he crawled out the lion's back. And you read about the lion, he killed a man with his paw. And old Samson, he got his hands around that lion's showing him right back, leading to the lion's head. And the breeze made way in the lion's head. If I had my way, if I had my way in this wicked world, if I had my way, I would tear it down. The lion, she was a woman. She was fine and fair. She had lovely looks. She had cold black hair. And the lion, she had the bone strength in me. Still, tell me what all strength lies. In your place, she talks so bad. She talks so bad. I'm Samson from the lion.
Good morning. There was a time when it seemed that Peter, Paul, and Mary were everywhere. How about this iconic moment in American folk music and, yes, in American history on August 28, 1963?
Now, a group of singers who have come to help express in song what this great meeting is all about. I give you now Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Started to sing, and I had an epiphany, looking out at this 250,000 people. And I truly believed at that moment it was possible that human beings could join together to make a positive social change.
Sudden, the lyrics are coming out, you know, and how many years will it take before people can be free? And you're thinking, wow, this is it. This is the integration of everything that you sing and you feel strongly, and the moment.
there was a breakout in thinking, a desire to say, let's think for ourselves independently. We won't be the instrument of somebody else's intent, but we will really be a different kind of people living in a different kind of society. The answer is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
But look where they were just 1 month before.
Now we come to the special feature of our program for which the members of the panel are always blindfolded, as you know. The blindfold holding face panel?
Yes, sir.
Good. Will you enter Mystery Challenger and sign in, please? As you know, in the case of our Mystery Challenger, one question at a time, in turn, moving clockwise. And we'll begin with Bennett Cerf.
Have you achieved a modicum of fame in the field of television?
In a sense, in a very real sense, maybe yes.
All right, Dr. Dorothy. Mm-hmm.
Have you ever lived in Paul Newman's apartment?
In a sense, but certainly not in the real sense. No.
1 dotted line to go, Mr. Allen.
When you lived there, did Paul Newman live there too?
No.
2 dotted eight to go, Miss Francis.
Do you appear in television as a regular feature rather than as a special?
Oh, absolutely not.
3 dotted 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Have you also achieved a reputation in motion pictures?
Well, strange enough is life left. No.
That's 4 dotted 6 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Are you a teen?
Very often.
Mr. Allen.
Are you currently appearing somewhere in town? Hello?
Are you?
Nah.
5 dotted 5 to go, Miss Francis.
Well, I don't know. Was that answer yes?
No.
Oh. I even don't know it. Was the answer yes to a team, Dorothy?
Yes.
It is a team. Very often they're a team. And sometimes they're...
We'll accept that they're a team. Mm-hmm.
Are you all male and a yard wide?
No.
6 dotted 4 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Are you, when you're not appearing as a team, are you wedded?
No.
7 dotted 3 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Are you Peter, Paul, and Mary?
Yes!
All the people. When did Mary?
Because
Did Mary speak ever?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which question did you ask?
The 3rd one, the 6th one, the 9th one.
No, I answered them all, but I spoke very low.
I think I promised you Mary Ellen Travers. That's right. And then I guess it's Peter Yarrow and Paul Stuckey. Right. So that you know them all in full and...
At first, I thought the first one was Warren Beatty.
Well, I must say that they are, as I think we all know, there's no need here to paint the lily, remarkably well known throughout the country as
best of the folk singing groups, at least that's my understanding, and I'll buy that.
And then January 1964, I trust you recognize the host of this show. Peter, Paul, and Mary had just sung Blowin' in the Wind on the show. What happens next cracks me up.
That set cost me a fortune. Come back here, will you please? I want to tell you that was absolutely wonderful.
Thank you, Mr. Penny. We're very flattered to be guests on your show.
Flattered? Well, I guess you don't realize that I remember you. I go back to your very first performance, yes, you know, and I bought every one of your albums, and I've seen all of your performances in this area, and I feel that I know you not only as a group, but as individuals. I've even got your pictures on my wall.
It's so nice to hear, Mr. Benny.
I really mean it. Now, tell me, Peter.
Mr. Benny, I'm Peter.
Oh, then you're Paul. Is that right?
That's right.
Then you must be.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Anyway, I knew that you were Peter, Paul, and Mary. I mean, the last time I made a mistake with three names was with the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. I almost got on the wrong boat. All over the country would like to know more about you, like how you got together. Where did you come? Did you come from the same area?
Well, no, I was originally from Louisville, Kentucky, and Paul's from Michigan, and Peter's from New York City.
Actually, New York City is where we got together. Our first job was in Greenwich Village.
I see.
Lately, we've been doing college concerts and concerts in auditoriums.
Mm-hmm. Well, then, look, this is none of my business. But I can't understand why you subject yourselves to all that traveling. I mean, those one-night stands are so hectic. Why do you do it?
Oh, now, wait a minute. I happen to know that last year when we were in Minneapolis, you were doing a violin concert in St. Paul, and you were only there for one night.
I know, but I was booked for a week. Tell me, Paul.
I'm Paul.
Oh, I see.
And I'm Mary.
I know. Yes, I know. Now, Peter, you know, you can all settle something for me, because I got into an argument with a very close friend of mine. It got into a real big discussion, a big argument. What makes folk music distinctive compared to other kinds of music?
First of all, folk music is invariably the musical expression of the cultural attitudes and emotional experiences of various ethnic groups. It sustains itself by the folk process or the oral tradition, and this really accounts for the continuing alteration of a song, and to a large extent justifies the urban, eclectic, cosmopolitan, contemporary folk singers' point of view.
Then I was right. It's the last time Leonard Bernstein will ever argue with me.
Three months later, here they all are. They didn't perform on the same show, but hanging out with the cool kids. How did all this happen? Let's start with Peter Yarrow. Born in 1938 in New York City, Peter describes himself as a confirmed folkie from an early age, but he started on the violin. eventually made it to the guitar. He went on to the High School of Music and Art in the city, college at Cornell, where he majored in experimental psychology. Peter was an undergraduate instructor for a course taught by a musicologist. Listen to what Peter wrote about that experience. I was up there singing folk songs to these silver spoon Cornell men who were totally absorbed in dressing in the right tweed jacket and right red tie and trading their fraternity pins, the currency of sexual exchange, for the prized co-ed's favors. Then something happened. Those very same people who I didn't know, like, or understand started singing along with me to these folk songs. And as their voices opened, so did their hearts. It was clear to me that underneath their practiced exterior, there was a deep longing for personal authenticity. In a flash, I realized what I was going to do in my life. I've heard Peter tell a similar story about singing many years later for a bipartisan congressional group, and of the feeling in the room when he got Democrats and Republicans singing along together on "We're Leaving on a Jet Plane." Let me hasten to add, that was many years ago. In 1959, he went from Cornell to Greenwich Village. In 1960, Peter appeared on the first folk music TV special, Folk Sound USA. Then a guy named Albert Grossman approached Yarrow to become his manager. Grossman had co-founded the Newport Folk Festival. He managed Joan Baez, Odetta, Josh White, and Dylan. Grossman had a suggestion for Yarrow: form a group. Grossman had a specific concept in mind. He was looking for a blend of a strong woman singer, a gifted comedic performer who could also sing, and a purebred folk singer like Yarrow. Yarrow liked the idea, so he started looking. The story goes, it's early 1961. He goes to the Folklore Center, a music store in Greenwich Village. It's run by a guy named Izzy Young. Time for a digression. Here's an excerpt from the New York Times obituary of Young, who died at age 90 in February 2019. Anyone wanting to capture the essence of the times could do far worse than head to the Folklore Center at 110 McDougal Street between Bleecker and West 3rd. Established in 1957, it was nominally a music store selling records, books, instruments, sheet music, and fan magazines, mostly sprung from sweat and mimeograph machines like Sing Out magazine. In actual practice, the center was also equal parts hiring hall, Schwab's pharmacy, where young hopefuls awaited discovery, a Lana Turner reference, Matchbox recital space for organized performances and impromptu jam sessions, nerve center for gossip on a par with any small town barbershop, and a forum for continuing crackling debate on the all-consuming subject of folk music, which, thanks in no small part to Mr. Young, was enjoying wide, renewed attention. So Peter sees a picture on the wall at the Folklore Center, and he asks Izzy Young, "Who's that?" And Izzy says, "That's Mary Travers. She'd be great for your group if you could get her to work." Who was this Mary Travers? Born 1936 in Louisville, Kentucky, she was known as a gifted singer, but she wasn't looking for a professional career. In 1958, she'd been cast in a Broadway musical, The Next President, written by Mort Saul. It went nowhere. So in 1961, she's 24, 25 years old. She's divorced with a baby, and she's not singing. Yarrow goes to her place. They knew the same songs. Mary had already recorded with Pete Seeger, Yarrow's hero. So Peter and Mary sang together, and Peter wrote, "It was kind of mediocre." Enter Noel Stuckey. Born 1937 in Baltimore, Maryland, Noel was more R&B and pop, and he was a comedian. But hanging around the village, folk music started creeping in. Noel says it was the influence of Dave Van Ronk and Tom Paxton. Early 1961, Grossman approached Noel Stuckey at a club. Are you interested in joining a group? No. Stuckey said, I just knew there was a world out there and I didn't want to be a part of a trio. 3 months later, Mary calls him. She says, there's this guy with me. Can we come over and sing? Noel relents. He said it turned out this was the same group that Albert Grossman had in mind. It's just that it came in another way. So they sat down to sing in an East Village 5th floor walk-up where Noel was sharing a loft space with the aforementioned Mr. Paxton. What do you think was the first song they tried singing together? Mary Had a Little Lamb. The result? Things clicked immediately. All agreed to give it a shot, and they started rehearsing the next day. But Noel later said, I had very little loyalty to the trio. He said he figured it would be a year or two and then he would pursue his other interests. Mary said, for me, it was a job. How was I going to support my child? So she said, I agreed, but I had no idea it would be successful. How did they mesh musically? Listen to what Mary said. Peter and I tended to agree about music because our roots are the same, whereas Noel is constantly trying to sneak in some jazz chord, which we're constantly throwing out. More from Mary. Peter and I would fight at times because he'd want me to work as hard as he did, and I didn't want to. Noel was always the quiet one. He was the middle guy, the mediator. Peter was pushing ever forward while I was dilly-dallying in the rear. Peter, he says, part of Mary and Noel feels steamrollered by me sometimes in terms of my getting my way. Says it's happened when I've wanted to get a concept for an album or remix something, but there's no leader in the group. There is a complete flux of leadership. How did they come to be known as Peter, Paul, and Mary? It was a suggestion of Albert Grossman. Now, you know the song, I Was Born About 10,000 Years Ago? Yeah, me neither, until I looked it up. But it has the line, I saw Peter, Paul, and Moses playing Ring Around the Roses. So Noel agreed to use Paul as his stage name with the group. It's not his name. For the first 6 or 7 years, huge commercial success and fame, numerous albums, recording all of these traditional folk songs that they sang, and then the hit recordings that you know. Puff, Blowing in the Wind, If I Had a Hammer, I Dig Rock and Roll Music, Day Is Done, Jet Plane, the numerous recordings of Dylan songs, Times They Are A-Changin', Don't Think Twice, I Shall Be Released, Too Much of Nothing, on and on. Yarrow said it was when they started recording Dylan songs that took them to another level. The Grammy Awards, 14 nominations, 5 actual wins. Then in 1970, they split. Mary said they simply worked too hard. In 1969 alone, they gave 190 concerts. And like young people growing up, I think there was an element of going in different directions. One element they all talked about was Noel's embrace of Christianity in 1967. He would talk on stage about being reborn. And Peter and Mary were not crazy about that. Years later, Noel said, in retrospect, I don't blame them. No matter how engaging I tried to make the revelation of my revelation, it was nonetheless a call to take a spiritual journey. I was used to saying anything that came into my mind during my solo spots in the group's concerts. But it was making Peter and Mary uncomfortable. This meant I had to put an editor on what I perceived to be the truth. But after the breakup, they each continued to produce music. Mary was the first to release a solo album entitled Mary, with songs like The Song Is Love and I Guess He'd Rather Be in Colorado by Bill Danoff, who co-wrote the song Country Roads, and this one by John Denver.
It's by far the hardest thing I've ever done, to be so in love with you and so alone. I do and who I know. Make it part of you to be a part of me. Follow me up and down, all the way and all around. Take my hand and I will follow too.
Then Noel released a solo album. Naturally, it was called Paul and it included his classic wedding song. He wrote this for Peter's wedding in 1969, then donated all of the very substantial royalties to charity, saying the song had come to him in response to a direct prayer asking God how the divine could be present at Peter's wedding. Just a clip of it.
He is now to be among you at the calling of your hearts. Oh, rest assured, this troubadour is acting on his part. The union of your spirits here has caused him to remain. For whenever two or more of you are gathered in his name, there is love.
Peter did a solo album, Peter, with some of the best songs he ever wrote. I want to share with you three of them. What strikes me about these three particular songs is what they have in common, despite being so different musically. First, an excerpt.
I travel the banks of the river of Jordan to find where it flows to the sea. I looked in the eyes of the cold and the hungry, and I saw I was looking at me. I wanted to know if life had a purpose and what it all means in the end. In the silence I listened to voices inside me, and they told me again and again. There is only one river, there is only one sea, and it flows through you, and it flows through me. There is only one people. We are one and the same. We are all one spirit. We are all one name. We are the Father. We are the Son. From the dawn of creation, we are one.
Let me quickly add that in later years, Peter fixed the gender-centric father-son, and that became father, mother, daughter, and son. What a song. This is the voice of the philosopher prophet. I've traveled the banks of the river of Jordan. It's biblical. I've looked in the eyes of the cold and the hungry. I saw I was looking at me. I wanted to know if life had a purpose and what it all means in the end. In the silence, I listened to voices inside me. They told me again and again, there is only one river, only one sea. In the end, we are one. Next, I want to play you in its entirety a lesser known song of Peter's called Greenwood. It was a solo piece, but I'm going to show you a video of the trio playing it at their 25th anniversary concert. It's one of the songs I sent you the lyrics for. I think this is an example of great songs that are not hits. The truly great songwriters, singers, performers have great songs that didn't necessarily become hits. This one begins with the singer testifying as a witness. I've seen 1,000 people kneel in silence. I've seen them face the rifles with their songs. I always thought that we could end the killing, but now I live in fear that I was wrong. And after a litany of the world's woes, the singer makes his closing argument. There's no way I can say the words more plainly. There's no one left to point at anymore. It's you and me, and we must make the choice now and not destroy the life we're living for. The writer and these singers had sold millions of records at this point. There is nothing in this song except conscience and craft, not a trace of commerce, the integrity of it all.
I've seen 1,000 people kneel in silence, and I've seen them face the rifles with their songs. And I always thought that we could end the killing, but now I live in fear that I was wrong. The killer and the cynic waltz together. Their eyes are turned into their skulls. They do not feel the bullets in the bodies. They do not hear the dolphin or the gull. If we do these things in the greenwood, what will happen in the dry? If we don't stop, there'll come a time when women with barren womb will bitterly rejoice, with breasts that dry and never fill with promise. Gladly they'll not suckle one more life. Is this then the whimper and the ending? The impotence of people raised on fear. A fear that blinds a sense of common oneness. That common love and life or death are here. If we do these things in the green woods, what will happen in the dry? Will no one light the candle in the darkness? Will no one be my guide, not let me fall? I've lost the sense that tells me where the path is. I feel the chill of winter in my soul. There's no way I can say the words more plainly. There's no one left to point at anymore. It's you and me, and we must make a choice now, and not destroy the life we're living for. If we do these things in the greenwood, what will happen in the dry? We do these things in the greenwood, what will happen in the dry?
say that the tree of loving shine on me again. They say it grows on the banks of the river of suffering. Shine on me again. And weave, weave, weave me the sunshine out of the fallen rain. Weave me the hope of a new tomorrow. Fill my cup again, that's right with me. Weave, weave, weave me the sunshine out of the fallen rain. Weave me the hope of a new tomorrow. Fill my cup again. Well, I've seen the steel and the concrete crumble. Shine on me again. The proud and the mighty all have stumbled. Shine on me again. Weave, weave, weave me the sunshine out of the fallen rain. Weave me the hope of a new tomorrow. Fill my cup again. Oh, if only I could heal your sorrow. Shine on me again. I'd help you to find your new tomorrow. Shine on me again and weave, weave, weave me the sunshine out of the fallen rain. Weave me the hope of a new tomorrow. Fill my cup again. Oh, only you can climb that mountain. Shine on me again. If you want to drink from the golden fountain, shine on me again and weave, weave, weave me the sunshine out of the fallen rain. Weave me the hope of a new tomorrow. Fill my cup once again. I'm struck by the range of emotion that Peter summons up in those three songs. River of Jordan, I wanted to know if life has a purpose and what it all means in the end. Greenwood, there's no way I can say the words more plainly. There's no one left to point at anymore. And then, weave me the hope of a new tomorrow and fill my cup again. This is a soul yearning for social justice, asking the hard questions, looking life in the eye, not blinking, not turning aside, and still seeing the hope of a new tomorrow. It's a big part of the enduring legacy of Peter, Paul, and Mary. In 1978, Peter was organizing an anti-nuclear power benefit in Hollywood. He asked Noel and Mary to join him on stage, and lucky for us, they did. That led to a tour and another album called, appropriately, Reunion. The album was a commercial failure, but not in my house. Some can say the production was too slick, whatever. What I heard was some terrific songs. The song selection actually showed the three of their individual growth and continued divergence in styles. For example, the first song on the album was written by Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil. You know a lot of their songs, even if you don't know you know them. They gave us You Never Close Your Eyes and Make Your Own Kind of Music and dozens of other songs you know. They wrote the first song on Reunion.
After all is said and done, we need each other for a million reasons we can't even name. All our roads still lead to one another, and for all we've been apart, we're still the same. Like the first time, only better. We're a song that must be sung together. Like the first time, only this time. Could it be
song called By Surprise.
I'd like to take you by surprise at the grocery store, grab you by the hand, step on the electric door, and leave the shopping cart right where it is. I bet you somebody's got the same list. I want to take us away from all this to a distant shore. I'd leave the car by the curb with a motor on, the tape deck playing our favorite love song. You'd say, what in the world? You smile just like a little girl. And I'd say, I can't tell you now, but it won't be long. Well, I know it sounds funny, but it's true. I get so busy I forget I'm in love with you. Every now and then, we need to get away to get close again.
I don't remember any song by Peter Yarrow with the words grocery store in it. It's a different style. More about that in a few minutes. Peter wrote a gem on the reunion album that Mary soloed on, a song called Sweet Survivor. Stay tuned. So they were back together doing 30 or 40 concerts a year, PBS specials that seemed ubiquitous, awards of every kind, and a lot of great songs. In 1986, they released an album entitled No Easy Walk to Freedom. Yarrow wrote the title song with a woman named Marjorie Tabankin, a longtime campus radical and then a Hollywood activist who also did a stint as director of the Vista program. While watching this video, keep in mind what Peter, Paul, and Mary themselves said about recording together. They said the positioning of the mics in a tight triangle heightened the intimacy of the recording studio. They say they always looked directly at one another during the entire take, sensing the drama of the song. They were both performer and audience to each other. Watching them makes me think of watching a string quartet on stage with the musicians playing off of each other.
Brother Martin was walking with me, and every step I heard liberty. Though he's fallen, gone a million behind. Glory, hallelujah, gonna make it this time. No easy walk to freedom. No easy walk to freedom. Keep on walking and you shall be free. That's how we're gonna make history. Across the ocean, the blood's running warm. I hear it coming, there's a thunderous storm. Just like we lived it, you know that it's true. Nelson Mandela, now we're walking with you. There's no easy walk to freedom. No easy walk to freedom. Keep on walking and you shall be free. That's how we're gonna make history in our land. Not so long ago, we lived the struggle, and that's how we know. Slavery abolished, common freedom is gone. Keep on walking and the hard time will fall. No easy walk to freedom. No easy walk to freedom. Keep on walking and you shall be free. That's how we're gonna make history. Oh, bread for the body, there's got to be a life without liberty. Bread for the day when the struggle is past. Freedom for all, freedom last, freedom last. No easy walk, no easy walk, no easy walk, no easy walk, no easy walk. Keep on walking and you shall be free. That's how we're gonna change history. Oh,
These songs of Peter's are spirituals. In 1997, Peter's daughter Bethany heard a song at a campfire at the Kerrville Folk Festival, a song that brought everyone to tears, by the songwriters Steve Seskin and Alan Champlin. Bethany went back and told her father this was a movement-creating song. 2 years later, there was a movement. Peter co-founded an organization called Operation Respect. It was in the aftermath of Columbine. The organization is dedicated to advancing the social and emotional growth of children and youth. If you wanted to capture its mission in a hyphenated word, it's about anti-bullying. They've disseminated their classroom-based curriculum, the Don't Laugh at Me program, free to thousands of schools worldwide. Here's the first verse of that song that Bethany brought to Peter. I'm the little boy with glasses, one they call a geek. Little girl that never smiles 'cause I got braces on my teeth. I know how it feels to cry myself to sleep. I'm that kid on every playground who's always chosen last, a single teenage mother trying to overcome my past. You don't have to be my friend, but is it too much to ask? Don't laugh at me, don't call me names, don't get your pleasure from my pain. In God's eyes, we're all the same. Someday we'll all have perfect wings. Don't laugh at me. I'm fat, I'm thin, I'm short, I'm tall, I'm deaf, I'm blind. Hey, aren't we all? Don't laugh at me, don't call me names, don't get your pleasure from my pain. In God's eyes, we're all the same. Someday we'll all have perfect wings. Don't laugh at me. On the No Easy Walk to Freedom album was another great freedom song that is particularly appreciated by every Jewish song leader who ever had to sing a song at Hanukkah. We're going to watch the whole thing. It's fun, but also see if you can follow the beauty of the arrangement, the voices moving in and out of different parts. They make it sound and look deceptively easy. They're not. These were first-class arrangements. It's part of what distinguished Peter, Paul, and Mary. We listeners who have no ear for harmony, that's me, can easily take this for granted. We shouldn't.
Light one candle for the Maccabee children, but thanks to their light didn't die. And light one candle for the pain they endured when their right to exist was denied. Light one candle for the terrible sacrifice justice and freedom demand. Light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand. Don't let the light go out, it's as if it's so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out, it's as if it's so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. light one candle for the strength that we need. Never become our own foe. And light one candle for those who are suffering, pain we learned so long ago. Light one candle for all we believe that anger can't tear us apart. And light one candle to bind us together with pieces of song in our heart. Don't let the light go out. It's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out. Let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out. Let the light go through the air. Don't let the light go out. Let it shine through our love and our tears.
What is the memory that's valued so highly that we keep it alive in that flame? What's the commitment to those who have died when we cry out they've not died in vain? We have come this far, always believing that justice will somehow prevail. This is a burden, this is a promise, and this is why we will not fail. Don't let the light go out. It's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out. Let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out. It's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out. Let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out. Don't let the light go out. Don't let the light go out.
I understand there's been a problem with the quality of the videos. I'm befuddled as you are. We'll do the best we can. In 1986, the group went to El Salvador and Nicaragua. Noel wrote the following about a press conference at the end of their trip. He said what he remembered most about the trip was a priest holding this white flower above his head and saying, "This is a flower of peace. Take it to the American people and ask them please not to pour our blood on it." There are tears running down my cheeks and there is a hush. A few minutes later, the conference is over and we stand next to the table with our arms around each other. This has been the most galvanizing experience of our Peter, Paul, and Mary lives. Before that trip, Noel wrote this masterpiece. I want you to hear the whole thing. You have the lyrics. Listen for how it's different from some of the Yarrow songs we listened to a few moments ago.
There's a sunny little country south of Mexico where the winds are gentle and the water's blue. The breezes aren't the only things that blow in El Salvador. If you took the little lady for a moonlight drive, odds are still good you'd come back alive. But everyone is innocent until they arrive in El Salvador. Rebels take a bus on the Grand Highway. The government destroys a village miles away. The man on the radio says now we'll race out the border. And in the morning the natives say, we're happy we've lived another day. Last night 1,000 more passed away. filming Rio and the refugees, calling murdered children the tragedy of El Salvador. Before the government camera 20 feet away, another man is asking for continued aid, food and medicine and hand grenades for El Salvador. Unravel and the buildings sway, a soldier fires the acid spray, a public address that starts to place out of the border. You run for cover and hide your eyes, you hear the screams of paradise. They fall and bullet and you realize that El Salvador. Just like Poland is protected by her Russian friends, Junta is assisted by Americans. And if $60 million seems too much to spend in El Salvador, they say for $500 million they could do it right. Bomb all day and burn all night until there's not a living thing upright in El Salvador. They'll continue training troops in the USA and watch the nuns that got away and teach their military bands to place out of the border and kill the people and set them free. We'll put this price on their liberty. Don't you think it's time to leave El Salvador?
What a song. These lyrics, like some of Phil Oakes's, have a touch of journalism to them. It's like Noel's songwriting pen has a camera. The rebels take a bus. The government destroys a village. There's a television crew here from ABC. The government camera is 20 feet away. And the thread throughout of the references to the song South of the Border, the strain of colonialism that song conjures up. But at the end, Stookie lowers the boom. They'll continue training troops in the USA and watch the nuns that got away and teach the military bands to play south of the border and kill the people to set them free who put this price on their liberty. Don't you think it's time to leave El Salvador? Politics aside, this is a song at a higher level. There is not a word wasted. There are no cliches. It's all authentic imagery and music that captures the intensity of the message, and Noel's guitar playing. And what a voice. It's a tour de force. You remember the reference to Noel being born again. He has some songs on that theme. There's one that stands out to me. I can't play you the entire thing, but I want you to listen to him singing a piece of it with Emmylou Harris.
In the beginning, as life would keep forward, the oceans heave, the mountains were cleaved, the firmament stormed at the center of being. Immensely small was the master of now. Don't ask me how, love would know.
And the seasons were many, creation was new. And there on a tree, deceptively free, a forbidden fruit. Upon leaving the garden, after the fall, one thing was clear, we chose not to hear the love of it all.
For the love of it all,
I would go anywhere
to ends of the earth. Oh, what is it worth if love could be there? Walk in the thin line between fear and the call. One learns to bend and finally depend on love of it all.
I want to play you one more by Noel. What I'm about to play is 12 years old. You could have fooled me, and I don't have the heart to slice this one into pieces.
There's a warning that comes wailing through the trees. A depression runs shortly, left by the pounding seas. There is a lesson in the drought that brings a country to its knees in these times. We are dancing with disaster when we live beyond our needs and pretend our hungry souls are not related to our greed. Life's a journey, but it's not about the speed in these times. In these times, we must be mindful of the gift. In these times, use our hands and hearts to lift the fallen spirit in this land, planting flowers in the sun, reaching out a helping hand. As the perfect storm approaches and the gale around us roars, no longer can we close our eyes and hide behind our doors. Our choice is fewer now by what we've chosen to ignore in these times. The ship of state is drifting and it's getting hard to steer. It's a complicated issue, but the direction's pretty clear. And each of us is who we need to get to there from here in these times. In these times, we must be mindful of the gift. In these times, use our hands and hearts to lift the falling spirit in this land, bringing water to the sand, reaching out a helping hand. In these times. In everything that's living, there is a promise of love, planted in the seeds below and in the stars above. We must listen to its message, become faithful stewards of these times. We must be mindful of the gift in these times. Use our hands and hearts to lift the fallen spirit in this land, growing gardens in the sand, reaching out a helping hand. In these times, we must be mindful of the gift in these times. Use our hands and hearts to lift the fallen spirit in this land, planting flowers in the sand, reaching out a helping hand.
For all of their success and fame, I think Peter, Paul, and Mary is underappreciated. Something about that campfire persona, strumming guitars and singing. Nonsense. These are three extraordinary individual talents, each one a wonderful singer with his or her own style, and then Peter and Noel, gifted songwriters with a body of some transcendent songs, and then the uncanny combining of those talents, the marvelous arrangements. And it all began with Mary Had a Little Lamb. On September 16th, 2009, Mary Travers died at the age of 72 from leukemia. At her memorial service at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York, everyone spoke. You never heard so much discussion from a public lectern about the effect on people of blonde hair flapping in the breeze. John Kerry spoke about one song in particular, written by Peter with an assist from Cynthia Weil. This is the song that Mary sang on the Reunion album in 1978. It's a song about justice between generations, about going from the children for whom the world was to be made better to becoming the adults whose obligation is to do that for the next generation. I want to sing it to close out our discussion of Peter, Paul, and Mary, who, each in his or her own way, is indeed a sweet survivor. You have asked me why the days fly by so quickly, and why each one feels no different from the last. And you say that you are fearful for the future, and you have grown suspicious of the past. And you wonder if the dreams we've shared together have abandoned us or we abandoned them. And you cast about and try and find new meaning so that you can feel the closeness once again. Carry on, my sweet survivor. Carry on, my lonely friend. Don't give up on the dream. Don't you let it end. Carry on, my sweet survivor. Though you know that something's gone, for everything that matters, carry on. You remember when you felt each person mattered, and we all had to care or all was lost. But now you've seen believers turn to cynics, and you wonder, was the struggle worth the cost? And then you see someone too young to know the difference, and a veil of isolation in their eyes. And inside you know you've got to leave them something, or the hope for something better slowly dies. Carry on, my sweet survivor. Carry on, my lonely friend. Don't give up on the dream. Don't you let it end. Carry on, my sweet survivor. Though you know that something's gone, for everything that matters, carry on. Carry on, my sweet survivor. You've carried it so long, so that it may come again. Carry on, carry on, carry on. Someone once asked the lyricist Yip Harburg, how could you write the classic song April in Paris without ever having been to Paris? To which Harburg replied, well, I've never been over the rainbow either. If all Yip Harburg had ever done was write the lyrics to Over the Rainbow, we would all be forever grateful. Yet he did so much more. He wrote all the lyrics to all the songs of The Wizard of Oz and the words leading to those songs. What makes the Hottentot so hot? What put the ape in apricot? What do they got that I ain't got? Courage. He gave us the lyrics to the 1932 song, generally recognized as the theme song of the Great Depression. Once I built a railroad, made it run, made it race against time. Once I built a railroad, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime? He wrote the lyrics to the great musical Finian's Rainbow, the 1947 fable that assaulted racism and the shortcomings of capitalism, the first musical to have an integrated cast, a show with glorious songs like, look, look, look to the rainbow, follow it over the hill and stream, and how are things in Glockamora, and the classic, it's that old devil moon in your eye. He wrote the lyrics and composer Earl Robinson the music for the Free and Equal Blues, sung in a 1944 election eve broadcast on behalf of the Roosevelt re-election campaign. I went down to the St. James Infirmary. I saw some plasma there. Up and asked the doctor, man, was the donor dark or fair? The doctor laughed a great big laugh. Then he puffed it right in my face. He said, a molecule is a molecule, and the damn thing has no race. Oh, that was news, that was news. That was very, very, very special news, 'cause ever since that day we've had those free and equal blues. Harburg wrote at least 2 other songs with the same Earl Robinson that you may know. For example, we're in the same boat, brother. We're in the same boat, brother. And if you shake one end, we're gonna rock the other. It's the same boat, brother. And he wrote the marvelous Hurry Sundown, recorded by Peter, Paul, and Mary.
My seed is sown now, my field is plowed, my flesh is bone now, my back is bowed.
So hurry, sundown, be on your way, and hurry me a sun up from this bleed up sundown day.
Hurry down, sundown, be on your way. Weave me tomorrow out of today.
guy. Born Erwin Hochberg in 1896 to Russian Jewish parents on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. When he was 27 years old, he changed his name to Edgar Y. Harburg. The Y was for Yipsel, the Yiddish word for squirrel. And Yipsel, of course, became Yip. From an early age, Harburg was drawn to humorous verse and stories. So I love this one. It's 1910. Yip is 14 years old. He's sitting in school with a book of his favorite light verse, and he shows it to the kids sitting next to him, who always sat next to him because they were seated alphabetically by last name. The other kid looks at the verse and says, you know, they set a lot of this to music. Yip says, really? The kid says, I'll show you. After school, they go back to the kid's family's apartment where there was a record player, a Victrola, because these people had money. And the kid plays Yip a recording of HMS Pinafore. Harburg said later, there were all the lines I knew by heart, put to music. He said, I was dumbfounded, staggered. The book was verse by W.S. Gilbert of Gilbert and Sullivan, and the kid seated next to him alphabetically was Ira Gershwin. Ira Gershwin and Yip Harburg were lifelong friends. What is Yip Harburg doing in this lecture? He's here for two reasons. First, he is terribly underappreciated. Now, one reason the world knows names like Rodgers and Hammerstein and Lerner and Loewe is that they became a brand by working together for extended periods. Harburg didn't have one partner like that for an extended time. He worked with 48 different composers over the course of his career. Another possible reason he may be overlooked is that lyricists somehow get overlooked. I don't get it. But years ago, there was a piece in the New Yorker by Hilton Als, who referred to Harold Arlen's, the composer's, Over the Rainbow. I blew a gasket. I wrote a letter to the editor. Has anyone ever hummed that tune and thought, if only someone had written the lyrics to it? No, the letter was not published. But some of you may know the story, confirmed as true by Sondheim, of a woman who remarked to the wife of composer Jerome Kern, so your husband wrote Old Man River. The wife of lyricist Oscar Hammerstein, standing nearby, said, no, her husband wrote La, 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 La. How good was Harburg? Sondheim says that Harburg, Cole Porter, and Irving Berlin were the most brilliant technicians of the Golden Age. Like Woody Guthrie, Harburg helped to create a new genre. When Harburg graduated City College in 1917, his biographers say, he was not yet absorbed in songs. Why? The biographer writes, it wasn't just that he and his classmates had not yet found their métier. The fact is that their métier, that of theater song lyricist, had not yet been invented. When Yip graduated, George Gershwin was 19, Richard Rodgers was 15, and future Harburg collaborators Harold Arlen and Burton Lane were 12 and 5, respectively. Harburg and his contemporaries, like Oscar Hammerstein, began using songs as a vehicle for advancing the plot of a play. Previously, a musical was dialogue interrupted by a song unrelated to the plot. But Harburg's songs were different. They advanced the plot. They were a seamless part of the plays. And Harburg was doing something else. He was trying to unite the worlds of Broadway and Woody Guthrie. It's not an accident that the Union leader in Finian's Rainbow is named Woody. But Woody Guthrie thought songs could express political and social ideals. Harburg thought a theater musical could do the same. When Pete Seeger wrote to Woody Guthrie, "You have more children than you know," that included people like Harburg. So the phenomenon of Woody's children reaches far beyond just the people who pick up a guitar or a banjo in a concert hall or a protest rally. It's music about the issues that touch people's lives. It's idealistic, but it's not escapist entertainment. Listen to a brief bit of what Harburg himself had to say.
And my songs try to point out through laughter, through humor, or through emotion, that the life should be taken humorously, hopefully, philosophically, and that underneath all our mistakes, that there is a purpose to life, and the purpose is brotherhood, laughter, neuroticism, and the therapy of goodwill.
Harburg spoke at the inaugural event of the Lyrics and Lyricists series at the 92nd Street Y in December 1970. He said, in our songs, we work for a better world, a rainbow world. My generation, unfortunately, never succeeded in creating that rainbow world, so we can't hand it down to you. But we can hand down our songs, which still hang on to hope and laughter, so that in times of confusion like these, when all the world is a hopeless jumble and the raindrops tumble all around, heaven opens a magic lane. When purple clouds darken up the skyway, there's a lovely highway to be found, leading from your window pane to a spot behind the sun, just a step beyond the rain. You know what comes next. In 2001, Over the Rainbow was voted the #1 song of the century in a poll by the National Endowment for the Arts and the Recording Industry Association of America. It is, of course, a transcendent song. It will be sung as long as singers sing. And it's not even my favorite song from the movie, which we're going to close with today. My favorite song from The Wizard of Oz is an extraordinary piece of craft. It is a song about the personal qualities we must exhibit to make social justice happen and how to be better to one another. I think Woody would have loved it. I could while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with the rain. And my head I'd be scratching while my thoughts were busy hatching. If I only had a brain, I'd unravel every riddle for any individual in trouble or in pain. And with the thoughts I'd be thinking, I could be another Lincoln if I only had a brain. Oh, I could tell you why the ocean's near the shore. Oh, I could think of things I'd never thunk before. And then I'd sit and think some more. I would not be just a nothing, my head all full of stuffing, my heart all full of pain. And perhaps I'd deserve you and be even worthier of you if I only had a brain. When a man's an empty kettle, he should be on his mettle, and yet I'm torn apart. Just because I'm presuming that I could be kinda human if I only had a heart. I'd be tender, I'd be gentle, and awfully sentimental regarding love and art. Oh, I'd be friends with the sparrows and the guy who shoots the arrows if I only had a heart. Now picture me, a balcony, above a voice sings low. Wherefore art thou, Romeo? I hear a beat, how sweet, just to register emotion, jealousy, devotion, and really feel the part. Oh, I would stay young and chipper, and I'd lock it with a zipper if I only had a heart. Life is believe me, missy, when you're born to be a sissy without the vim and verve. Ah, but I could change my habits, never more be scared of rabbits if I only had the nerve. I'm afraid there's no denying I'm just a dandelion, a fate I don't deserve. Ah, but I could show my prowess, be a lion, not a mouse, if I only had the nerve. Oh, I'd be full of pride, a king down to the core. Then I would roar the way I've never roared before. Then I'd ruff and roar some more. I would show the dinosaurus who's king around a forest, a king they better serve. And with my regal beezer, I could be another Caesar if I only had the nerve. If I only had a brain, if I only had a heart. Yip Harburg, one of Woody's children, indeed. It looks like we have maybe 60 seconds or so to go. Andy, any questions we ought to take up?
Not that I'm seeing. A lot of thanks right now. We did have a little connection issues relating to Spectrum early on, but it seems to have resolved itself as we went along. So thank you for your patience, everyone.
And of course, our apologies. All this video and audio settings were the same as the first 2 weeks. So what can you do? If that's it for now, then we'll see you next week, where we take up the songs of the Vietnam War, the civil rights movement, and the environmental movement. Everybody have a good week. See you next Tuesday. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Deb.